Flame. Yo, what's up, Justa? Yo, let's have a conversation.
Wanna have a conversation?
We can have a conversation.
Yo, we can have a conversation.
Yo, let's have a conversation.
Anytime you want a conversation,
we can have a conversation.
Have a conversation.
Yo, how you feel about your craft, where it takes you? Hoping to break through and show the whole world that can make or break you. Times when there was no bread to make do is what we had. All hard times turn to craft, still hone it. It's like something inside keeps going, knowing I ain't got a dime, dealing with this present time. Just a verse, you feel me?
How do I feel about my craft, you ask? Well, my craft is more than words, it's a verse to express me. Laced with fire to spark a flame unexpectedly, always making listeners think. When I think about my craft, I think of cats from my past. De La Soul paving the way for Most Def, Common, and Talib Kweli. Once looked at as hippies, now looked at as thinkers, teachers. I want to teach her and him not to give in to the pressures of image. Now, I know I'm slightly changing the subject, but cats be subject to change the lyrical content because a horny record rap on the extra zero on their paycheck said to. So now I ask you, how you feel about image?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Edward Clark, your host. Welcome to Unvaccinated Voices, here with the Professor John C. Hinton, all the way out in Connecticut, and of course, just the verse. Want to let you folks know up top. Unfortunately, the Queen Karina Port will not be joining us this evening. She went out to Mexico, and she's a little bit under the weather. Now, y'all can go up from that. But if y'all
Take from that what you may.
if y'all been following Karina, trust me, she left nothing. She left nothing left. I believe me. She left no gas in the tank. Homegirl had a good time, and she made them connections. She did the right thing. But we hoping peace and blessings to her. Make sure that she's all right and comes
Love
back
you,
to safe and
Karina.
sound.
Get better.
You know what I'm saying?
Love you, Karina.
Yeah, the
Eat
solution
that
for
bad
her is
worm.
exactly. The solution for her is stay out of Mexico. But
and that's the solution.
that's
God bless the child that love is home.
This week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about what is Black Love Part 2. We had a pretty good lot of response to everybody the last time we did this. And this week, we want to concentrate on unconditional love. And to that end, we also, I told everybody about it last week. And just want to, once again, while John is here, man, I want to, give you peace and blessings, man, towards your family, man, for losing your aunt.
Most definitely.
Technically, it's 99 and a half years, but let's keep it real, y'all.
We
That woman
rounded
did
it
a
up.
yard. She did a yard. We giving her a
up.
yard. We giving her a full yard. And we hope that we get the blessings that we'll be able to have that someday. But
That's
on the
right.
idea of unconditional love, there's a story behind the situation with John and what he went through and what led him to this moment. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about the relationship that just the verse as she came up, particularly with her grandmother, her mother, and what the things that happened with her. But I tell you what, let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. John, here's what I want to know from you first, before we get into the nitty gritty. Give us a short background of how you ended up being John C. Hinton and the surprise that you found out after you got older about how you were raised. Folks, this is a story you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, people used to always think that my mom, Maybelle Miles Hinton, her last name was Miles. She married my father, John. Okay. And everybody used to always think that she was my grandmother. So no matter where we went, whether it was at a school, anywhere where we had to address people, they would say, "Oh, did your grandmother?" And I say, "No, that's my mom." So in doing so, as any child would do, question, like, "Mom, why? Because people would say, well, if your mom is 56 and you're only 12, that means, or if your mom is 80 and you was, so they would do the math, and then them questioning me, I would question her. Like, Mom, why did you have me so late? And she would always say the same thing. Well, when the Lord was ready for you, that's when you came. So from that, through everything, as I became a grown man and a father, I did for her what she did for me. I took care of her. My father passed when I was 11. I missed his wake. That man right there went through the hell of being a black man in North Carolina. That man right there, John Hinton, was on his own at 9 years old. That man right there used to get beat, as my mom told me, by white men. That man right there, John Hinton, was on his own at 9, and that was my father. So as I got older, and I took care of her because my father passed when I was 11. And then she had dementia, and me understanding or learning what dementia was. But at the end of the day, like most black and brown people, and it's no disrespect to anybody of the race, we don't put our loved ones in a home. And even though people would say, you know, for you to do your thing because BET Comic View, because you're opening up doing this, and because you're now getting notoriety as far as comedy, being the first black person, or being the first person from Connecticut to do Comic View, and to be able to open up for people like Bernie Mac and Martin Lawrence and all these individuals, I did it the hard way. Because with a woman with dementia, I didn't have the luxury of going from Connecticut to New Jersey and coming back. Staying there, getting a hotel room, and doing that for the weekend. There would be times where I would perform in New Jersey on a Friday and leave Friday night back to Connecticut to make sure that my mom didn't roam or leave the house, just to be able to leave again that Saturday to do a show and not stay to come back before Sunday to make sure my mom was okay. My point to it is, you go through a phase where you blame everybody because you had all these opportunities. And then you go through the phase of, okay, well, shit is what it is. And then you go through that phase where this is the only woman that did everything for me, and I got to do everything that I can to take care of her, because that's my son right there, Isaiah Mendez. That was 2 years before she passed on her 90th birthday. And my whole point to it is to take care of that woman, and then for her to pass on to the next life, and 30 seconds after the doctor pronounced that she passed, a family member says to me, you know, Doc, a lady brought a little boy to my grandmother's doorstep and left him. And my grandmother hid that little boy for 3.5 months, hoping that this lady would return. And when that lady didn't return, my grandmother, or she said that little boy, never left my grandmother's side. So I learned unconditional love, taking care of a woman who took care of me when my biological mother didn't want me. And then to have a woman like my aunt, Lucille Womack, which was my mom's baby sister, who passed at 99 and a half, and that will do. That's that lady right there. Look at her. That woman's, I sat there through COVID and had a conversation with her. COVID didn't touch this woman. There was COVID at the Hebrew home where she was at, but it didn't touch her. It took her I'd say maybe 10 seconds before she figured who I was when I went to visit her. And we sat there, and you know what she said to me? And I never asked her. I'd never breathed this conversation ever. She said, John, you know your mother. We all loved you, especially Mabel. Mabel loved you, John. She loved you. It's as if my mother was sitting there to say, it don't matter where you came from, it's where you at. So I want everybody out there that's listening to understand this. Love has nothing to do with DNA. It has to do with unconditionalness. And I was blessed to have someone take care of me unconditionally and raise me, whoop my ass as if she gave birth, didn't buy me shit when I asked for it as if she gave birth to me. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you can ask from a black woman from Raleigh, North Carolina, born August 5th, 1912. Without her, I wouldn't be here talking to y'all right now. And as God is my witness, I miss them both, but I know they work too much and too hard to get to where they at. So, yeah, that's my story.
Now,
pause before we go any further. I just wanted to say that first picture gave me chills. When I tell you, talking about a woman that's beautiful, all that melanin that's just popping, oh my goodness. I had to say that because as soon as it came up, I just got chills. Oh, look at that. Jeez. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Now, I'll tell you this. That's not my mom. That's my niece, and that's me with being a ring bearer at a wedding. Now,
so your whole family just dope.
What? My pop.
So your whole family. So that's pretty much what you're saying. My whole family dope is what you're saying.
Listen, and I'll say this real funny. This is true. My mom, see right there, she preaching, she got the hat, and she got she posing.
See that bone structure come
yeah,
through,
yeah,
mama?
Yeah. But you know what though? She'll cut your ass out in a minute and swear she ain't swearing. No lie.
That is black love. That is black. You want to know the answer to the question? That is black love.
Let me throw this also out, and obviously see
ass
how.
Ain't a word. Ass ain't a word. What you talking about? Ass being a word. Ass ain't a word. You better go sit your ass down somewhere.
Yeah.
You act like you my pappy.
We couldn't use it in my house, but but here's the thing: the black love. Also, let's talk also about what happened past that, because at some point in your life, John, there had to be a point where obviously now you have a little one, all right, and your time comes, and you've got decisions you got to make, and you look at the fine young man that I got to meet right there not too long ago, and that became what you all about. Talk to me about how you were. The way you were raised. Tell us exactly how that affected, good and the bad, how that affected the situation with your son.
All right. I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. When my Maria, which is my son's mom, and I remember, quite well, when she said, she called me up, she says, I'm late. I was like, well, I'll drop you off at work. I don't have to work.
Period.
She's like,
we'll get you there on time.
Nah. She said, no, not that kind of late. Not that kind of late, motherfucker.
I love it.
I had that. Look, and I'll be honest with you. The reason that my son and I are close is because of me being a coward. I'll say it again. The reason that my son and I are close is because of me at one point being a coward. I'll explain it to you real quick. BT had just called me up. I was able to do Comic View out in LA. That was in 96. I was the first person from Connecticut to do it. And in 97 and 98, my mom was diagnosed with dementia around that same time. And then my son's mom was telling me that she was pregnant. And I didn't want him. And I felt my whole world crumbling down, because now I finally have an opportunity to do this thing that I love and go to LA and fulfill all of this. And now it's all going down because blah, 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 blah. But you know something, it don't matter how you act. If you was raised by a strong, black, proud woman, it had nothing to do with education. It's about right and wrong. And she raised me to be right and not wrong. And everything that I was doing was going against how I was raised as far as taking responsibility. And I honestly sat down. I had a conversation with my son's mother. I told her, allow me to be the best father that I can be to him. I don't want to be a paycheck. And I'll be a paycheck if you're going to tell me how to raise him. But I want him to be better than me. I don't want him to be with a police revolver at his head, or laying in a pool of blood, or having somebody after him, or him running on the law. I don't want any of that. And she just said, make me a promise that no one will mistreat him. And my point to it is, when he was 6 years old, I told him my cowardly moment. I said to him at 6, Isaiah, I'm going to say something to you. There was a time where I didn't want you, and I was weak, and I was a coward about it, and I was a punk. I said, but you're the best thing to ever come into my life because I've made mistakes, but I apologize. And then 6 years later, when he was 12, I said the same thing to him. I told him, you remember that conversation we had? And I told you my weakest moment, and I apologized and asked for your forgiveness. And he said, yeah. And I said, I'm asking you now because you're a little older. You know why I did that? Because I'm his Superman. I'm his inspiration. I'm his everything. I'm the one that influenced and did the whole thing.
Exactly.
And if I can let him know that even though I'm your everything, I had a cowardly moment and I wasn't a man in growing, because it takes a lifetime, as James Baldwin say. And I can apologize and face the mirror and show you in action and not in words, then there's no excuse. And that's how he looked at me now at his age of 22, a person that we're connected to because there's, it's there. It's there.
Yeah, one of the things I want a lot of you folks to watch this right now, and I notice we have a lot of people watching, and I want you to understand that what we're getting to here. Not only how John was raised, but how it was passed on and where his guts came from to be able to do what he had to do. And we're going to be talking to Justa verse because there's a story that you guys are really going to hear about this. But we hear a lot of times we hear a lot of these stories. It usually is the female, and usually brothers, are not willing to step up and do what John just did. I give you a lot of love for that, man, because see, if there's the very definition of black love is after your life and growing up and the discoveries you made after your mom died, all these discoveries you came up with, plus losing a mother twice in your life, that's traumatic within itself. 2 mothers in your life, that's traumatic. But even more important than that, right, is the fact that you were able to pull yourself together and stuff to do what you had to do to be able to bring that back to your son. And I give you mad respect for that, man, because the fact that you even want to admit it, that says a lot to me right there. You know what I'm saying? That young man right there, I met him, and that young man, he's got game, he's stable, he's got his stuff right, and I give you a lot of love for that, man. So how's your relationship with your son today?
My relationship with my son, we're so tight, sometimes he tells me shit I really don't want to hear.
I know that feeling.
I really don't.
That cool?
Some things, I have had conversations with my father. If you guys ever seen the movie Fences with Denzel Washington, please go watch that. That really expresses how black men, which was Denzel Washington's character, was back then. When you're growing up without love and you're trying to find, anyway, getting back to it. So I always said, like most of my generation, when I have a child, I'm going to be more of this. I'm going to do this more. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. I didn't think, and in doing so, and in pouring out my love and doing that Kunta Kinte shit, raising them up. It's all over. I didn't think that he was going to be as, and I welcome it. But if you're watching right now, I don't need to know certain things,
Tell it all to him. Make him as uncomfortable as possible. I do it to my dad all the time.
I just want to say this real quick because Eddie brought up something. When Eddie came to Connecticut when I had this comedy show, my son and his lady came too. So I'm talking about my son and this and that. And it was a thing that I thought of. And I was about to say it because that's what comedians do. It's experiences of life. And then I paused. And the crowd was like, no, go ahead and tell. I said, no, my son right there. And he's like, okay, no, Dad, you can go ahead. And I was like, yeah. My son's mother was complaining because all of the soap when he was younger had a big-ass hole in it. And he going to tell her because he can't grip the soap when he in the shower.
Wow.
So she telling me this, and hold on, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I had to ask myself, was I like him at that age? Because his uncle had he had a cousin that had went on vacation for 5 years and had some old VCRs tapes of this, right? So instead of them throwing it away, they gave it to his older brother. But my son, being, the movie buff that he is, decided.
Wow.
He wanted to check the production quality. I understand. I get it. I get it.
So I'm not going to take up too much time. I'm just going to say his mother said, "Why do I say I want the VCR? He has Nintendo and DVD player. He got this shit. He got this shit just right next to his bed. Ain't no TV stand.
It's a just in case."
So I'm gonna just leave you with this. She over here thinking his sinuses is acting up.
Wow.
Picking up all that goddamn tissue.
Everybody log off. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
We're losing people as we speak.
Show's over. I'm done.
But we hope you guys will stick around. We have a check out. We're gonna take a quick pause for the cause. We got a lot more to talk to, and everybody's gonna be involved.
The bottom line is get your COVID shot.
We're gonna be right back in a couple minutes. As you guys know, we believe in supporting Black business. You know what I'm saying? My man, cousin Paul, bless.com, which actually I'm wearing his gear. I'm wearing the gear, ladies and gentlemen. I'm wearing cousin Paul's gear. But we're gonna talk about that. Also, a lot of things that Key Harold's doing on 9/11 and Blue Boy Boxing. And we're gonna take a quick pause for the cause, and we're gonna come right back right after this with Justa Verse, because she's got some stuff she wants to drop on y'all about Black love, and it's not the standard, oh, it's a female complaining and bitching. Check this out right after this.
She is confident in who she is, her walk, the way she moves, her hair, and especially her skin sun-kissed. Whether she wears makeup or is as natural as the day she was born, whether she is bare or with silver and gold adorned, she knows her worth. Her self-esteem to often misconstrued exudes the beauty she feels within. She is a gift because she knows who she is.
So many people helped me get to this point in my life, man. I just want to do the same for others. It would be disrespectful to those who trained me, poured all that knowledge into me, not to pay it forward. As I train, I just want to produce winners. Not just in the boxing ring, but in the game of life. Life is like one long boxing match. You bobbing, weaving, trying to go the distance, trying to outlast challenges that'll come your way. You don't always have control over situations, but you do have control over your attitude and how you treat them. I've had many challenges, many obstacles I've had to overcome, and I did.
Download Blue Boy Boxing Club app for free at the App Store or Google Play.
Yeah, I'm blessed. You blessed. We blessed. Yeah. Wait in line for it, make time for it. Hustling faith and walk blind for it. Struggling grace, I had to climb for it. I'm inclined to find a better crime for it. Recognize I'm qualified for it. Put in position to redefine for it. I'm doing it different, I be the kind for it. If I rhyme on it, definitely I'ma shine on it. A new design on it.
And you realize suddenly you are blessed. That's right. That's right. It's that simple, y'all. It's that simple. It is that simple to actually get your stuff. That's right. Cousin Paul. Be blessed. I wear it. You wear it. Support black business.
We blessed. Yeah. We blessed. Walking it out. Yeah. I'm walking it out. We blessed. Yeah. I'm blessed. Yeah. Walking it out. We blessed. Yeah.
All right. I'm Cousin Paul. CUZZINPAUL. I just want to be America's favorite cousin. I love everybody.
We blessed.
Blessperiod.com. What are you waiting for?
That's it, y'all. I'm wearing mine. Get it? I'm telling you. If you can find your way in the Walmart to buy them cheap shirts, this is good material, y'all. All right, at the right price. You go into Target, you buy them cheap shirts. The folks that put those emblems on there, they don't give a damn about you. All right, they doing it to try to make money. All right, there's no point to be made. Cousin Paul is making this stuff. He's keeping the community. We need to support black business. It don't mean that this is nothing against other people's businesses. I mean, white folks got whatever they got, boom. You know what I'm saying? Because until we learn to make cars and hockey skates, this is where we at. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is, we got a brother out here, man. He gets his stuff. There's no horsing around. You put the order in. Blessperiod.com gets right to you. You ain't got a horse around. You good to go. So I'm recommending you. What are you waiting for? While y'all sitting there right now, you can be on your phone instead of talking to that dude that really don't want to talk to you, or that girl that's had enough of you, or them kids you forgot to make that payment for, so they ain't really talking to you no way. You ought to do the right thing and get them a daggone, go to Cousin Paul and get them kids some clothes. Now, that's just a suggestion from me. All right. So let's continue on with what's happening. Today, as we were talking about earlier, you know what the subject is, y'all. We're talking about black love. All right. And this is part 2 of the series we've been doing. And we're talking about unconditional love. Unconditional love, we just heard from John Hinton and what's all about with him. Let's talk for a minute now. We're going to deal with Justa Verse. Now, a lot of y'all do know that Justa Verse is my daughter, but understand this. There was a situation when my mother and I split up, and there was a period, about 10 years, where she didn't have me around that much. And the thing about it is, there were other people, as usual, in our community too many times. Somebody had to step up and get it done. So here's what I'm throwing to you, Justa Verse. Tell everybody exactly what unconditional love is to you and how it's affected you, and in respect, how it has also affected your son and other young black kids that you have had the opportunity to work with and help grow. And I'm talking about people around you who I know that you've had help grow. Talk to them about it.
Okay, well, wow, you kind of threw it out there to where I don't know where to start. So I'm gonna go through a couple little things real quick. First, I honor my mother because my dad was never gone for real. Our relationship was strained. So we were living in Florida. He was living in New York. I'll put it out there because I really don't care. I didn't have a good relationship with his wife. And so there we didn't have the relationship that we wanted to have. One thing I say before I get to my grandmother, I'm gonna give my mother all respect because what she did, she recognized that my dad was there. He just wasn't physically there. So what she allowed to happen was I had a very, 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 very close friend at the time. Her name is Sasha. Sasha's dad we all went to church together. Sasha's dad, Brother Beaumont. When Sasha and I linked up and started to become friends, he took me, he too recognized and respected that I had a father that was in my life. But he very much so took on a role as that everyday guy, everyday, male figure. I won't say father figure, but male figure. Many times when, I had, I wanted to go out and do whatever and, hang out or whatever, I knew there was a man that was making sure that I was okay. When he was making sure Sasha was okay, he was making sure I was okay. And my mother, this man, married man, whatever, it wasn't anything weird going on, but my mother recognized the connection that I had with Brother Beaumont, and she allowed that to be. So she felt safe when I went over, because growing up in a Jamaican household, you don't go over people's house. They can come over your house. You can't go over people's house. But I was allowed to go to Sasha's house, and I was allowed to spend the night sometimes, hang out, everything. We got our cars around the same time, all that type of stuff. So I respect my mother so much for doing that, because when I had my son, his father was in Orlando. We were in New York, and then we were in Atlanta, and he had my dad too and all that type of stuff. And he had his dad too, but her showing me that allowed me to let certain men in his life that helped him become the man he is today. I'm a strong believer, and women, you can get mad if you want, but we just gonna keep it a buck. I don't know how to raise him to be a man. You know what I'm saying? And I always say this, I ain't never had blue balls. You feel what I'm saying? I don't know what it is to be all-encompassing man. What I could show him was how women were affected by certain actions of men. But I allowed people like Nilson and Jamal and Mike and Gary and Anthony and even Twan and so, these men that were good men and good examples to him. And there's so many more that I am not mentioning right now. Dominic, there's so many more. Everybody from North Orlando, everybody from Southside, everybody from New Creation. Y'all know who y'all are. Y'all know what it is. So her selflessness in allowing Brother Beaumont to have a certain role in my life is the same type of selflessness I try to allow for Makai. And because of that, there are things that he got to know and he got to experience. And to be honest with you, I always maintain with my dad as well as with the other men that were in his life. And keep in mind, I was not dating all these men. Only 2 of the people that I mentioned in that list are exes of mine. The rest are just like church members and stuff. The dude named Kareem used to come over and have Bible study, just talk to him about the week and everything and all that type of stuff. Gary used to teach him how to fix cars and stuff. That's why he loves cars now. Mike, all of them. But he got an opportunity to have relationships with them that I was not necessarily privy to. He knew if anything weird happened, he needed to come tell me. But I always said, if that's the man's conversation, have your man's conversation. Unless it's something detrimental to you, I don't necessarily need to know that. I need him to know that he can trust going to my dad. I need him to know that he could trust going to, whoever it is at church or whatever. And it's not a thing of, I'm going to run back and tell your mother. If it's not detrimental to his well-being, if it's just a man, a young boy asking something that a man can tell him, by all means, talk to him. You don't need to tell me nothing. Just make sure you let me know that my baby's okay, and that's all it is to it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to my mom for that. But when we were having this conversation on Monday, and John was talking about, that's my family. They're my family. There go my aunt, there go my grandma in the middle, my mommy on the side, all my cousins in the building. Shout out to Mackenzie, because I'm the first girl and she's the last girl, and we start and end this whole cousin thing. The rest of them just thrown in there. Oh, and my Uncle Scott in the back. So, but yeah. So my grandmother was born in Jamaica, and something that people don't know, my grandmother didn't get vaccinated till she was about 12 years old. And the reason why was because her father was white, her mother was black. She had an older brother, and he came out with blonde hair and blue eyes. And at that time, they came to the house to give vaccinations and so on and so forth. And the story is that the physician that came to the house, when he saw my grandmother's brother, he said, no little black child should ever be that beautiful. He injected him with, I want to say it was iodine, which everyone in my family is allergic to, and he killed him. So following that, when my grandmother was born, anytime the physician came by, they said she wasn't there. They left her somewhere else. They hid her so that he would not be able to do the same to her. So she came out the womb fighting, as Black women do. We come out the womb fighting. So her life was saved by them hiding her, them simply hiding her. All right. So she grows up. She had my mother, I want to say she was 17, I want to say. I don't remember. Please don't kill me if I'm wrong. She had my mother. My grandmother ended up coming to the United States first. And she's so dope, she ended up marrying my grandpa Aubrey. My grandpa Aubrey said, go send for your pick-me. And my mother came to America when she was around 14. My grandmother was dope. And I'll tell you a story. She worked on Wall Street. She went to interview for a position and she needed to type X amount per minute in order to get the position. Well, my grandmother didn't know how to type. She had never had a typewriter, nothing. She didn't know nothing. So at that time, you could go to the library and rent out a typewriter. So she said, okay, give me till Monday. This was a Friday. Give me till Monday, and I'm going to come back and take the test. Is that cool? They said yes. So she went and she rented, she borrowed a typewriter from the library, and she went home and taught herself how to type. And when she came back on that Monday, my mother has to correct me, but it's somewhere between 60 and 80 words per minute she was typing. Now, the funny thing is, to her dying day, she typed wrong. She typed like this, but she going with them fingers. Stop playing games with them. But her resilience in being able to take something that she had no knowledge of, and she said, oh, I'm going to get this job. That's what's going to happen. And she went and taught herself. She figured out a way. And that lady stayed on. As a matter of fact, she was part of the team. I do not say this with pride, but it is what it is. She's part of the team that went through the legal process when Donald Trump's father gave him that first $1 million that we always talk about. She was part of that whole team, and there's stories I could tell about that, but we ain't gonna go there right now. But here's the thing, though: with the good comes the bad. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a keep it a buck. My mother's relationship with her mother was not good. It really wasn't good. My mother always wanted to please. And what I learned later on in life, we found out that, well, they always knew, but my mother's father, she never knew him. And my uncle was loving enough to give her a DNA test thingy so that she could find people. And she went from being one of 3 to one of 15. One of 15. Yeah. So she has a bunch of siblings that she never knew about. But when I saw pictures of her other side of the family, her dad and everything, I realized she looked just like her dad. So I'm sure my grandmother was like, "Oh, you look like your daddy," but they had a hard relationship. So a couple years before my grandmother passed, we went to her 80th birthday, and again, being completely candid, all hell broke loose. I had gotten tired. I was like, everybody gonna start loving my mama. I'm tired of everybody, whatever. I'm tired of being on this Cinderella vibe, whatever. And it was an ugly situation. It really was. When we left her, I said, things won't be okay until my grandmother can come to terms with things that happened with my mom and, be able to hash that out. And everyone said, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. She's too old. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's not going to happen. She's stuck in her ways. But my grandmother, and when I tell you my grandmother is one of the most respected people out there, choir director, just a person of the community. She comes to America, people already know. She going back down with barrels, and you already know what you're supposed to bring. One of the nursing homes in Orlando, they got new bedding and everything. She took all of their old bedding and sent it down to Jamaica and gave it to a hospital down there. She'll come down with food and all that type of stuff. And she said, so-and-so, come and move this for me real quick. And they'll come and they'll move whatever. And she said, okay, go ahead and take that basket or whatever. And it's just food and all that type of stuff. They love her. She has a street named after her in Jamaica. So this is a woman that is respected and full of pride. And she humbled herself. She humbled herself and called my mother and said she didn't even realize what she was doing. And she apologized to my mother. And she and my mother had the most beautiful relationship after that. Now, I know I'm a firecracker, but that's one time shout out to me for being a firecracker, because after all of that, it's easy for someone to be like, your granddaughter, she's so rude and so and blah, 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 blah. And you know what I'm saying? And make it into something ugly. But she didn't do that. She flipped it on everybody. She surprised everybody. And not only did she do that, but she saved my mother's life. Okay. My mother, I grew up Seventh-day Adventist. Everybody knows I'm not a religious, I'm not with organized religion anymore, but I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist church. Shout out to them, because I wouldn't trade that upbringing. Honestly, we had good times. But the practice is from, much like the Jewish religion, Friday sunset to Saturday sunset. You don't do nothing outside of keep your mind on God. Keep a song in your heart. And my mother went down there because every year, she'll be back there in July. Every year my mother goes down with her friend, Miss Beverly, and they give out school supplies to different areas in Jamaica. And I'm talking about hundreds of kids come through. So my mother was down there to do this a few years ago. And she was in a place and it was full of mold. And she's still working because my mother don't know how to stop. So she's still working or whatever. The next day, she's not feeling good. I talked to her. I'm like, why you sound like that? What's wrong with you? She's like, I think I have a little cold or something. I don't know what's going on. I'll go to Jamaica and get a cold, chill out. And and each day she's not feeling, and it's worse and worse. And then on Saturday, the Sabbath, my mother was like, she just was not feeling well. Now, Vivian Hales being Vivian Hales McKinley, she ain't going nowhere on the Sabbath. You better wait till the sunset or go next day or something. But she took my mother to the hospital because she said something's not right and I'm not waiting. And that was July 6th. My mother, when they went to the hospital and she got checked out, apparently she's deathly allergic to mold. And as she was leaving, the doctor pulled my grandmother back and she told her, had you not brought her right now, she would have died tomorrow. I guarantee you she would have died tomorrow. And here's the crazy thing about it. That was July 6th. My son's birthday is July 7th. My mother is my son's world. I can't imagine what that would have done to him to not only lose her, but lose her on his birthday. But my grandmother stepped out all religious whatever and said, I'm taking my daughter to the hospital. And I'm telling you, there was a time when it was like, Lori, she's just lazy. And my mother's not lazy. But that's just the thing. That was one of those toxic things that was going on. And they wouldn't pay attention when she would say that she's sick and she's not feeling well. But that one situation that happened and her humbling, my grandmother humbling herself to recognize that she was not right in how she handled things, and being able to come to terms with that and being able to to build a new relationship. She ended up saving my mother's life. And though my grandmother passed about 2 years later, she passed last year. We never even got a chance to lay her to rest because of COVID. But she didn't pass from COVID, but she passed right before everything got crazy. But my mother got an opportunity to get the mother she always wanted for a good two years and change. Like, and it may not seem like a lot to most, but you don't understand how this changed my mother, you know. And the moment she called my mother and apologized, me and my grandmother were cool. And she called me about 2 days before she passed just to tell me hello. You know, she happened to be in Jamaica. That was my first master's degree that I got. She happened to be in, Florida, up from Jamaica for my graduation. So she was able to come. And that right there was a proud moment to let her be able to see. You know, she got a chance. My mother graduated with her bachelor's. She walked the stage with me. You know, and she got to see that, you know, her other child, because my uncle went to the military, my aunt went to college, my mother finally went, and she was in her 50s, and she got a chance to see that. And then she got a chance to see me get not one master's degree, but 2 master's degrees before she passed. And there are things that she taught me that I will take with me forever. Nobody can't tell me, even though I've had self-esteem issues throughout my life, but there's always been my grandmother's voice in the back of me telling me that I'm dope. Because my grandmother used to do things like this. She used to take me, she had a tailor, and she used to take me, she had a boutique that she would go to. And it got to the point they knew what types of things she wanted. And she would take me there. And if my mother sent me to church, because my mother and my father ain't go to church with us at first, but if my mother sent me to church and she recognized what I had on, she said I wore it too many times. And she went and got me more stuff. Like, my wardrobe was on, stop playing games. My wardrobe was not to be played with. You know what I'm talking about? My little frilly dresses and stuff, I was not playing with them, and I was not here for the games. But yeah, the Black love is being able, one of many things, but being able to humble yourself, even at 80 years old, and recognize I can still be better, and then do better. Not just say it, but do better. I'm right now, we talked about it on Monday, and I'm transparent with everything. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and depression been kicking my behind left and right for the last few months. But when I feel like I'm getting older, I can't do, ain't nothing gonna change, I can think about that. I think about that. At 80 years old, she made a change, and that's a major change. To change the whole dynamic of your child, that's a major change. If she can do that, I can do anything, you know? So that, to me, those things embody Black love to me.
Okay. Hey, you know, I can verify a lot of this stuff when it comes down to it. There's been the ups and downs, and if there's ever and I think everybody can do it. I've done it myself, where there was, like you said, our relationship wasn't all that great, especially being a mom at one point. You know, but there was a point where even myself, I had to humble myself. And this picture's probably a perfect example of it. You know what I'm saying? Well, we all got together, and I remember we talked, you know, and there was things about, I think the hardest part is coming in yourself. It's like same thing that John was talking about earlier. There had to be a point where he had to stand and look the other person in the face and say, I was a coward. And then make sure that you understand, because I'm trying to boost myself. I'm trying to get you to understand. I don't want you to make this trip.
Exactly.
Right? I don't want you to make this trip. It's like that. It's like this. It's like that story in the Bible when the rich guy walked over Lazarus, and then they both died. And the rich dude died, and he went to hell, and Lazarus to heaven. And the rich guy who had treated Lazarus like crap said, "Hey man, they said, hey, can this dude do anything for you, Lazarus? You know, he said, can you do me a favor? Can you just ask Lazarus to dip his finger in some water and just put it on my tongue? You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to come down here, but can you just do that little bit? And humbling yourself, that has a lot to do with it. Folks, let me tell you something. We've actually...
Pause. Before you go on, put that picture back up. Because I want them to understand what's happening in this picture. All the way to my father's left, that's his current wife, Carrie Ann. Then there's my dad. Then there's my mom. Then there's Makai. And then there's Makai's grandmother, his father's mother.
Wow.
And I want to tell you how dope my mother is. My mother she went with me to my dad's wedding weekend. She didn't go to the wedding, but we went to eat afterwards. And I actually have a picture. I wish I would have thought to send it. I have it
too. I didn't think to put it up.
But we all went out to eat. And my mother pulled Carrie Ann aside. And she gave us some real heart to heart. Just listen. This is your relationship. You don't let anyone interfere with it. You stand your ground and you be the woman that he needs you to be. And she talked some good stuff to her. Like, first of all, there's so many reasons why my mother could hate. She's way younger. She's a white woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many things, right? My mother is like, man, she's dope. My mother loves Carrie Ann. That's how you know Carrie Ann dope. It's my mama. your baby mama lover. But you know what I'm saying? But the beauty in being able to do that. And it came from my dad humbling himself, coming to the house, and the two of them went in the room and they had a conversation and they came out and they were cool. And my mom and my dad been cool ever since. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, there's a line to it. It's what you need to do, and like I said, and John, you understand what that feels like, because you know, I mean, you talk about yourself.
Yeah, and I understand that as far as everything when you said just a verse about your mom. The only thing that was different with my mom is she never bought any new shit. I had. Anything that a needle and thread could sew the hell up.
That's what was happening.
That was it. That was it. So, and she would give me sneakers. Anything. That's one thing about my mom. My mom would give me any sneakers that I wanted in the same bin as all the other sneakers that nobody wanted.
But you pick your sneakers out this bin, baby. You got whatever sneaker in this bin you want. It's yours.
And y'all know what I'm talking about. The ones with the little plastic with the other sneaker dangling with it. You need some scissors to cut this.
Mm-hmm.
It had a couple of stripes across the toe. And they're like, what are those?
The ones you got you beat up in school.
I was there. I'm going to just say this. I was the only kid that didn't look forward to showing off my school clothes.
Nah. Hey, guys, let me tell you something. We've actually gone through. There will be next week. I'm telling you right now because we didn't get a chance. There's two more subjects we actually didn't hit on this subject. What is Black love? And next week we're going to hit them both. One of them is going to be about Black love and same-sex relationships. And because Karina's not here, we can't get that because Karina will tell you in a heartbeat she is not gay. She is a vegetarian.
She is a vaginitarian.
Vaginitarian, exactly. She is not gay. So, and to explain, and you know something? It's funny because when you hear her story, you'll also be able to understand where the Black love comes in. But Black love, ladies and gentlemen, begins with yourself.
Yes.
It absolutely begins with yourself. So that's very important. And the other part we're going to talk about is the one thing that everybody talks about. We're going to break it down a little bit different way. And that is Black love in interracial relationships. Can you have Black love if you're in an interracial relationship? All right. That's the alarm telling us we get ready to get off. But that we're looking forward to that next week. Karina will be back. And we hope you folks will join us because there's so much stuff that we definitely want to get into.
Before we go though, I just want to emphasize this because I just want to make sure everybody gets this in their spirit. John's mother took him in and lived for how many years, John?
Yeah, she was still 92 years old.
She was 92 years old. She died at 92. And
That's my aunt right there.
she never said to this man, and John tells us all the time about how, you know, he wasn't no angel. And you know how people quit that ain't even your real whatever, that you ain't even really part of. But that, not only his mother, but his family. And then he said to me when I said this on Monday, John said, I sometimes think she forgot. When I tell you that kind of love, like I want to get rid of my own son that I know came out of me. Sometimes I'll be trying to sell him on eBay. I do.
Oh boy.
He's 21, about to be 22, but I can give you a discounted price on some days. You know what I'm saying? I sometimes tell him I ain't his mother. I found you in the trash. Same thing my parents used to tell me. Y'all are terrible. Anyway, but to know that a family loved you so much that they truly made you a part of that family, no questions asked. That right there is something that I think everyone needs to look at and really ask yourself how much you love those around you and what kind of love are you showing those around you? Because you want to say blood is thicker than water and all that type of stuff, but
exactly, there's a difference between words and action, and it takes a lot to have the action.
Most definitely.
God. Folks, want to thank y'all for coming out. Let me just throw a couple of things at you real quick. And we got a little surprise for y'all. First of all, let's talk business with Cousin Paul live on IG Monday, 10 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. Come prepared, folks. Come with your questions. The man has the answers. He is successful. The man has Puma. Puma is his partner. These people in corporations like that are not dealing with somebody that's half-assing it. This man is out here doing business. Make sure you check him out. And don't forget to also check out the equipment. I'm telling you, the gear is good. I got more than just here. All right, I'm telling you, I've ordered more stuff. I'm getting the slides soon, so I'm gonna be straight with everything. As soon as they come back in, I'm getting my slides. Remember, when you hook them up, don't forget to use the word promo code Prayer Warrior. Get a discount on your stuff, and I'm telling you, you will be beyond yourself happy. I'm telling you, it's a personal. I've done the experience. I've been with this. I'm telling you, it's all good. And then there's the absolutely fantastic, amazing, all right, Key Harrell at 9/11. If you're at Raleigh down there at the Crabtree Valley Mall, go down there, find her, check her out, get the stuff. But right now, if you go to 911.com, that's IXXI911.com, you go to her stuff. She is taking online orders right now. This beautiful sister's taking online orders right now. My wife is going to be buying some stuff, and she's going to need it for a special reason soon. But the thing about it is she's going to be buying some stuff. These are not fake people. These are real, actual people wearing this stuff. These are real people. And I'm telling you, they're not faking it. These people have spent their money. This is for real. You go down there in North Carolina, the stuff is out there. And get there quick because she keeps selling stuff out. You need to know about that. You know what I'm saying? She keeps selling stuff out. Go out and check that out. And then finally, I want to give you all a heads up, right? It's called Blue Boy Boxing. All right. Check it out on Facebook. Check it out on IG. Check it out on YouTube. The brother is there. All right. You can download the app at your favorite app store, wherever you get your apps from. Blue Boy Boxing. Even though he is in Connecticut, the brother will reach out to you anywhere and he will help your situation out. And trust me, it's going to work. So I want to just tell y'all, man, it has been this has been eye-opening to me, and I really hope it's been eye-opening to everybody else, because this is one of those things that we definitely need to get into. And you have to remember, just because we say in Black love, right? It doesn't exclude you if you're not Black. We're trying. What it actually means is our love, right, is so powerful. We can spread that out, and it actually helps you. Black love helps you. And next week, when it comes down to all this stuff, it will we'll break it all down, and you have a good time with it. So please don't forget to check us out. And folks, that's one other thing too. During the show, all you have to do is go to our website, our Gmail, all right, uvvoices@gmail.com. If you want to actually comment live on air, you hit me up on that. And as soon as we see it, we will get back and we'll give you a link and you can come on and you can give your opinions. No, nothing is off limits. Just be respectful. That's all we ask. But nothing's off limits. We want people to come out and speak their mind. That's what the show is all about. Give you a chance. I don't care what your background is, your color, whatever. That's it. And I want as many friends as I need, as I can have, because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to tell y'all something that I'm gonna get in trouble for because I'm telling it 1 week early. Well, I could tell you, but I'll put it like this. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for coming out. We appreciate y'all coming out. Check out the show. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Unvaccinated Voices, and don't forget IG, Unvaccinated Voices 2021. Be there. In the meanwhile, I have a little announcement I want to make, and I'm gonna get killed for it, but I don't care.
The wonder of it all. Take a chance, make it happen. Pop the cork, fingers snapping. Spin the wheel, round and round we go. Life is good, life is sweet. Grab yourself a front row seat and let's meet and have a ball. Yeah, let's live for the wonder of it all. Paradise, lucky 7, cut yourself a piece of heaven. You and me, we can have it all. Living large, get on board. This is it, it's your reward. Let's meet where the trees are standing tall. Yeah, let's live for the wonder of it all.
Maybe I get lucky and I'll be able to support them. See y'all next week.
Me to see so-called artists abuse my love. I want to bring the music back to what it was, what it used to be. When we felt a vibe, deep inside, close our eyes and let go, see. Cats from Aretha to Stevie, Shaka to the Black MJ, India to Jodeci's first 2 CDs, Talib to Flame, and music to me, just a verse. Have and will, maintain the love behind the scenes, behind the green. You feel me, Flame?
Yeah, I propose we stay grounded.
Cause this craft we have mastered is founded on a greater plan that has somehow been tainted, but
we strive to maintain it, claim it without shaming it.
We need to start a new path, seldom taken. Venture into a world forgotten, a world of talent and love of music, where artists wouldn't dream to abuse it.
Yo, peace, just a verse.
Alright, Flame.
No doubt.
We out.
Let's have a conversation. Have a conversation. We can have a conversation. Have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. You want a conversation? We can have a conversation. We can have a conversation.
Clenching my jaw with shackled teeth because the moment I open my mouth, uprising spring from my saliva, my dialogue is cruddy. Trample with the muddy boots of trade and migration, battling nations in my diaphragm, so the rhythm in my diction sounds like a war cry, and despite the white stuffed down my windpipe, I talk black with nappy phonics. Syllables that kink and twist, naughty expression that beads on my palate, so glow in this spit shine flow, Jerry curl jogging, bongo drums in my diction. This slang is semantic resistance, off with the head of the king's English. Can't you smell the riot on my breath? Char in my esophagus, my laugh is arsenic. And ain't enough opiates in this elementary education to hook me on phonics or gentrify the djembe out of my pronunciation. Love the taste of this cornbread accent. Sugar cane slang my tongue is. Motherland, mama of civilization, birth of every nation. Scat, boom, back, hi-hat, jazz, sax. There is music in my melanin and I be talking hella black. With a neck roll to articulate my tone. Conversations get you high as my cheekbones, and lingo about lush as these hips done grown. Thick thighs and deep fried vernacular. Hand motions and sound effects. Hieroglyphics hidden in my messages. My breath is the building of the pyramids on repeat. I'm like a Negro spiritual sampled over a trap beat. There is a black anthem inside my belly, so I will always lift every voice and speak.
How about a big hand now? Thank y'all.
And if you don't know